Hi, how are we doing? So, welcome to this Sunday stretch. This one is pre-recorded. Today is actually Wednesday, so I don't know what the weather's like for you outside right now, but here, as you can see, it's quite bright and sunny. It's quite nice. So, 20 minutes, bit of flexibility, movement-based training really, just to try and open up a bit of joint motion. As ever, not Pilates, not yoga. We're just looking at restoring the hips, the hamstrings, the legs, the shoulders, the chest, all the main areas that we've worked through the week. We're just trying to open those muscles back out, release any tension, get everything ready to move, ready for another week of workouts yet to come, and just to give us a chance to restore ourselves basically and reset our mind as well. Okay, so there's some nice gentle chilled out music on inside in the corner. Let's get to it. So what I'd like you to do to start out then is we're going to start sat just with your legs crossed. Sit up nice and tall and just breathe. Just give yourself a chance to breathe and relax and just settle down into the moment. You can have your hands on your lap, on your side, on the floor, whatever you're comfortable with. Just sit up nice and tall, nice and still, and just breathe deeply. In through the nose, out through the mouth. And again. Give me one more deep breath. And just feel all that tension dropping out of the body. Feel everything relax. Come back down to settling and easing off. So I'd like you to move very slightly from here. We're going to take your feet together. Bring your knees together and pull yourself, just pull your arms around your legs, pull yourself in nice and tight, just to feel your lower back start to stretch a little bit, your upper back stretch a little. Pull yourself in, tight as you can to your legs, tuck your chin in, like a little ball, like a child would, or like you're hiding from the rain or the wind, if you were outside. Just pull yourself in, and then relax. Just let your legs gently drop out to the side, feet together. Bring your hands down to your feet and let your knees drop out to the side. They may stop part way, they may go pretty much down to the floor, they might go completely to the floor. That depends on your range of movement, and that's all we're working with, is your range of movement. And we'll stay here just to let everything slowly stretch. Gravity is going to do the work for us. As we stay in this position, everything will slowly start to release, slowly start to open up. So we get that stretch across the inside of the thigh, around that groin area, a little bit across the hamstrings. It's also going to work around the hip. So with your knees still out to the side, just slide forwards a little bit. Bring yourself forwards, just to get that stretch, lower back, but you'll also feel it in the inside of the thigh a little bit more. So lean it forwards, try and keep that chest lifted. You're pulling your chest forward, not just hunching over and dropping to the ground. And just breathe, hold it here for a few seconds. And if it feels like it's starting to ease a little bit, it's not quite as much of a stretch, just come forwards a little bit more. Just lean into that stretch. And again, if it feels like it's easing off, come forwards a little bit further. And then bring your hands back slowly towards you, sit yourself up, just to take the stress off the inside of the leg. Hands under the knees, pick your legs up. Let's take your right foot out in front. We'll have your left foot on the inside of the right leg. Left knee still out to the side. And I'd like you to slide your right hand down your right leg to your calf, or your ankle, or your foot, or your toes. Reach in as far as you're comfortable. If you can keep that right knee down against the floor and your leg straight, great. If you can't, great. We're working at your levels. If you need that slight bend in the knee, keep that slight bend in the knee. But like we did earlier, feel that stretch. And if it eases, when it eases, try and go forwards just a little bit. Just creep your fingers forward slightly to pull you a little bit more into that stretch. We're working the back of the leg, the hamstrings here. Just open this stretch up a little bit. And then again, if you can, try and go a little bit further. Just focus on breathing. Relax. If you hold your breath or fight against it, you're going to make it harder to stretch. And then slowly release your hand. Let your body start to bring you back up. Let's bend that knee for the right leg. Left leg out in front. Right foot tucked in at the side. And then slide your left hand down your left leg as far as you're comfortable to go. Same thing. Keeping that knee against the ground if you can. If you can't, don't worry. Just lean in. Feel that stretch on the back of the thigh, through the hamstring. Inside of the thigh slightly as well. Just open that movement up. If it feels like it's easing, when it feels like it's easing, try and go a little further forwards. Creep your fingers further down your leg, around your foot, past your toes, wherever your range of movement takes you. And breathe. Give into that position, just let it go. One more time, if you can go a little further forwards, go a little further forwards. If you can't, you can't. Don't worry about it. Just keep holding it. And then release it. Slowly let yourself come back up. Let's bring it back into the middle, back to where we started. Feet together, knees dropping out to the side. And then take your hands forwards a little bit. So we get that stretch off the inside of the thigh again. Just lean it forwards gently, let it stretch. When it eases, try and creep forwards a little further. Open that movement. And then slowly bring yourself back up. And let's come up to kneeling. So all I want you to do here is kneel with your hips back by your heels. Stay up nice and tall, hands by your sides, and just hold this position for a moment. So we get a bit of a stretch off the front of the thigh. Just body weight, just holding us in this position, just starts to release things. Then all I'd like you to do, if I show you side on, all we're doing from here, hands down by your feet. Just bring your chest down to your knees. Bring yourself forward, keeping your hips by your heels, head down to the floor, into that child's pose. So pull yourself in nice and low, just let it relax. So this will open up the spine, the lower back, a little bit of hip movement. And then bring your hands round to the sides and out in front of you. And just walk your fingers forward slightly so we can stretch the upper back as well. Still keeping your hips by your heels, your head down. Now keeping your right hand in place. Let's reach with your left hand underneath the right. Head and shoulders down, or head and left shoulder down to the floor. Reach your hand across. So we get that bit of a twist, bit of a turn through the body. And then breathe out. Relax, come back to the center. Let's take your left hand out in front. Your right hand, just reach underneath, reach under the left arm, turn, twist into it. Let it open that stretch. And then bring it back into the center. Reach your hand forwards. Head down to the floor again. And then breathe in. And bring yourself up to all fours. From this all fours position, knees under your hips, hands under your shoulders. Let's bring your left foot forward. Stay up nice and tall. Just lean onto that left leg. Rest on the front of that thigh if you need to, so we can push that hip forwards. Start to open the stretch from the hip down into the front of the thigh. Really let yourself push forwards. If you look down, if your left knee is coming in front of your left ankle, reposition your left foot slightly. So at that furthest point into your stretch, your left knee is above your left ankle. Okay? Keeps it nice and stable. Resting on that leg keeps you up, keeps your chest open, and allows your hip to drop forwards into that stretch. As it eases, try and go a little further forwards. If you need to readjust that front foot, just shuffle it forwards a little bit. 3, 2, 1. And relax, push it back. Only coming up to upright. What I'd now like you to do, bring your left foot over slightly, and we're going to drop down to the floor as much as you can. With your leg down to the floor, you might find that your right leg has got to come out to the side, but if it can go back behind you, great. This is a pigeon pose. We're going to try and stay as upright as we can, hand on the floor or hand on your leg, whatever you want, so we can get that rotation, get that stretch through the hip, through the outside of the hip. Open that joint back up. If you find this uncomfortable, you can of course just stop part way, or like I say, bring that right leg around, bring your right knee to your left foot, and then you can still start that position, start that stretch. Okay, this is a great one for opening up the back of the hip. I suffer with sciatica at times. I find personally this helps me a lot. Pigeon pose, a lot of people recommend this to open up that hip joint, that hip capsule, but I know that it can be a tight area for some people, a restricted movement, so you do what you can. The one thing I'd like you to try and avoid with this is leaning forwards a lot into that stretch. I want you to stay upright so we can create that stretch through the hip, through the front of the right hip, and really deep into the left. Okay, now to get out of this one, we're going to bring that right leg back up, right knee by your left foot, and then we can roll to the side, and then you go the other way. So you can start with your left knee by your right foot. Of course, I'm going to turn this round so I can still see you. You've got your left knee by your right foot, and you can then take your left leg back into that stretch. It's almost getting part way into the splits at this point as well. Your left leg going back. Now you can see here, I'm more mobile on this side. I have more movement, more flexibility on this side. I can come above my leg for my right leg. With my left side, it's tighter. It's a restricted movement for me. So everyone has differences in their range of movement from one side to the other as well. Okay, and I mentioned earlier about I get sciatica at times. It is my left side which is the problem, the tighter side. So we can see there is an issue in there somewhere. Okay, but still staying as upright as you can. Let it stretch the front of the hip for that left leg, the outside of the hip for the right leg, and then Drop to the side, bring your left knee forwards. Bring yourself back round so that you're just sat feet about shoulder width apart. And lie yourself back. Last little bit we're going to stretch here then. We're just going to put your right foot onto your left knee. And with your hands, just pick up your left leg and support it. So we're continuing that stretch around the back of the hip, but we're getting it from a different angle. So now as we pull the left leg in, it's creating that turn through the right hip to open that stretch, to give us that movement. So we just hold this here for a short time, for a few moments. And then we relax it down, let that foot come down, bring the right foot to the floor, left foot up on top, and then pick the right leg up. So now we're creating the stretch off the back of the left hip, just by holding the right leg up, which is in turn creating that twist, that turn on the left side. So just let it stretch here, just give it a few seconds, and then we're going to bring it back down to the floor. Just let it come down slowly, bring that foot back down, slowly sit yourself up, turn it round, and the last bit to finish off, lie on your front. All I want you to do, arms out to your side, we're going to roll onto your right side, so we get that stretch through the chest, through the front of the shoulder. Your left hand up above you, or you can let it come across and just kind of arch back. But just feel that stretch a little bit through the chest and shoulder. And then roll it back down onto your front. And let's go the other way. So with your arm out, we're just going to roll across, let it stretch, chest and shoulder. And then bring it back down onto your front. Bring your hands round in front of you, pull them down to your shoulder. Slowly bring yourself up off the floor, up to all fours. Sit yourself back, hips to heels. And we're done. Simple as that. 15, 20 minutes, quick stretching, opening up the hips, restoring the movement through the legs, getting everything to get back into a normal position, back to moving normally. Restoring the body, restoring the mind, ready for next week. Thank you for joining me for this one. I'll see you live for sessions tomorrow. Take care, enjoy the rest of your day.